Let me hit you with something real. Change isn't coming, it's already here, and it's not slowing down for anyone. The question is, are you adapting fast enough to meet it head on, or are you getting buried under the pressure of uncertainty? We're living in a world where industries are being disrupted overnight. Jobs vanish, new ones appear, rules shift, markets flip, and technology outpaces human emotions. If your mindset isn't bulletproof, you will break. Not because you're not capable, but because you're unprepared, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But here's the truth. You don't need certainty to thrive, you need strength. And strength starts with mastering your mind. When everything around you feels out of control, your mind becomes your anchor. If you can command it, you can conquer anything. If you can't, the world will eat you alive. So today, we're going to dive into how the most powerful, fulfilled, unstoppable people on earth condition their mindset, not in times of comfort, but in chaos. Let's go. Your mind is not fixed, it's trainable. But most people treat it like a suggestion box, not a command center. They let fear, stress, doubt, and distraction run the show. And in a world of constant change, that's like going into battle with no armor. If you want to thrive in uncertainty, you must train your mind like a world-class athlete trains their body, daily, deliberately, and with intensity. Mental fitness means you don't just react. You respond with purpose. It means building the ability to stay calm when things explode, to stay focused when you're surrounded by noise, and to stay driven when everything feels out of reach. That kind of power doesn't come from reading a quote or watching a video. It comes from conditioning, from choosing the hard path over and over again until your mind adapts to pressure like it's fuel, not fire. Think about it. The mind left unchecked is like an untrained beast. It will panic, quit, procrastinate, and play small. But when you train it, when you challenge it, you become the master, not the victim. You wake up each day and say, "This is my mind. I decide what I believe. I decide what I feel. I decide how I show up." That's personal power. And how do you train it? Simple, but not easy. You do hard things. You keep promises to yourself. You push past comfort. You sit in silence and listen to your thoughts without judgment. You journal. You reflect. You visualize, you act. Every rep builds mental muscle. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, clarity over chaos, courage over comfort, you're sculpting the kind of mindset that doesn't bend when the world does. In a world of constant change, you don't rise to the level of your dreams, you fall to the level of your training. So train your mind like everything depends on it, because it does. If there's one thing that's killing people's potential faster than anything else, it's this: the obsession with certainty, the need to have everything figured out, the belief that when I know exactly how things will go, then I'll move. That mindset. It's a trap, and in a world that's changing every second, it's a recipe for anxiety, paralysis, and mediocrity. Here's the truth: certainty is an illusion. It never existed. The world has always been unpredictable. It's just that now the speed of change has ripped the mask off. But that's not something to fear, that's something to master, because once you let go of the need for certainty, you get your power back. What separates the most effective people today is not that they have perfect plans, it's that they have the mental agility to move through chaos with confidence. They don't crumble when the unexpected shows up. They dance with it. They don't resist uncertainty. They use it as a training ground to grow stronger, more creative, more resilient. You've got to flip the script from "I need to be sure" to "I'm ready for anything." When you demand certainty, you're really asking for comfort. But growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the unknown. And the moment you start to lean into that uncertainty, when you start to build a relationship with it, you realize something powerful. The unknown is where the magic happens. Every breakthrough, every new level, every great invention, every powerful moment of your life, it started in uncertainty. So how do you break that addiction? You start acting before you're ready. You take risks without guarantees. You condition your nervous system to find peace in motion, to create momentum without needing all the answers. You stop asking, "What if it doesn't work?" and start asking, "Who will I become in the process?" That shift changes everything. Life's not about avoiding risk. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle it, the kind who doesn't just survive change, but drives it. And when you learn to love the unknown, you stop being afraid of the future. Because you become its creator. In a world of constant change, there is one thing that must remain unshakable: your focus. Because in today's world, distraction is the default. Everywhere you look, there's noise. News, notifications, opinions, AI-generated chaos. People are overloaded, overwhelmed, and completely out of control when it comes to their attention. And here's the punchline: if you don't control your focus, the world will control it for you. Focus isn't just about productivity, it's about power. It's about taking all that energy you've got, your thoughts, emotions, creativity, drive, and pointing it in a single, deliberate direction. That's when things start to move. That's when you stop spinning and start building. Most people can't get what they want not because they're not capable, but because their focus is scattered like shattered glass. Let me tell you something I've learned working with top athletes, CEO, and world changers. Their superpower isn't that they have more time. It's that they master their focus. They know what to say yes to, and more importantly, they know what to say no to. They filter the noise. They protect their mental bandwidth like their life depends on it, because it does. And it's not just about what you focus on. It's also about what you focus meaning on. You get to decide whether change is a curse or a catalyst. You get to choose whether this season of uncertainty is draining you or training you. You get to take every challenge and turn it into fuel, because where focus goes, energy flows, and where energy flows, results show. So how do you master your focus? You build daily rituals that align your mind before the world gets a shot at it. You shut down the distractions that don't serve your future. You ask yourself powerful questions. What am I choosing to focus on right now? Is it making me stronger or weaker, closer or further from the life I want? You reclaim your power in the present, and you aim it like a weapon at the future you're building. Because in a world of constant change, your greatest asset isn't speed, it's direction. And that's driven by one thing: focus. Let me tell you something most people never realize. The most powerful conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Not once, not occasionally, but every single day, in your head, in your heart, in your nervous system. The words you speak to yourself when no one's around, they're either building you or breaking you. In a world that's constantly shifting, where change is rapid and uncertainty is the norm, your self-talk becomes your stability. If you don't take control of it, it will default to fear, doubt, and limitation. Why? Because your brain isn't wired to make you happy. It's wired to keep you safe. And safe often means small, comfortable, average. That's why you've got to interrupt the pattern and reprogram the voice inside your head to match the future you're building, not the past you're trying to escape. Every thought you repeat becomes a belief. Every belief shapes your identity, and your identity is the thermostat of your life. It determines how much love you allow, how much success you chase, how much risk you take, and how much change you can truly embrace. That's why your self-talk has to be intentional. You don't just react to your environment, you create a new one from the inside out. Look, the world will try to tell you who you are. Your failures will whisper lies. Your environment might reflect struggle, but you've got to speak truth louder than your circumstances. You've got to program your mind with declarations like, "I don't shrink in uncertainty, I rise in it. I don't fear change, I command it. I was built for this storm. This isn't fake positivity. It's neurological conditioning. When your self-talk aligns with your highest vision, your brain starts finding ways to make it real. You shift how you see problems. You change how you carry yourself. You stop playing not to lose and start playing to win. In a world of constant change, self-talk is not optional. It's survival. So if you want to master your mindset, stop letting your inner critic run the show. Fire that voice and hire a new one. One that speaks to your potential. One that reflects who you're becoming. Because your world doesn't change when the world changes. It changes when you do. In a world that never stops shifting, where the rules keep changing and the pace never slows down, you've got to build something inside of you that doesn't move. Something solid, something unshakable. That something is discipline, and it's built through rituals, not just routines. Let's break it down. A routine is something you do when it's convenient. A ritual, that's something you do no matter what. Rain or shine, chaos or calm, discipline or burnout, rituals are how warriors train. Rituals are how champions win. And in this age of constant distraction, uncertainty, and pressure, rituals are how you stay centered when the world spins out. Rituals aren't about being robotic. They're about being deliberate. When your external world feels unpredictable, you need your internal world to become predictable. You need anchors, mental, emotional, physical patterns that remind you who you are even when everything else feels unstable. That's why I'm not interested in whether you feel motivated. I care about what you've trained yourself to do when motivation is gone. Highly effective people don't hope their day goes right. They design it. They've got morning rituals that lock in focus, evening rituals that bring closure, mental rituals that keep fear in check, physical rituals that bring energy no matter how they feel. And here's the kicker. These rituals are what create consistency. And consistency is what produces momentum. Most people wait to feel ready, but rituals train you to act whether you're ready or not. You brush your teeth every day not because you're excited about it, but because it's a standard. That's how your mindset needs to work. You don't meditate when it's convenient. You do it because clarity is your weapon. You don't journal when you feel inspired. You do it because reflection builds resilience. That's ritual, and when chaos hits, you don't panic. You execute. You fall back on what you've trained. While others are scrambling, you're locked in, not because life's easy, but because you've built a system inside yourself that doesn't shake when the world does. So if you want to master your mindset, don't chase motivation. Build rituals, because when everything outside you is changing, your discipline becomes your stability. And from stability comes power. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Your mindset is not just shaped by what you think, it's shaped by what you consume. Every video you watch, every headline you read, every conversation you entertain, it's all programming your nervous system. And if you're not feeding your mind with intention, the world will feed it for you. And it's not serving you nutritious content. It's serving you fear, distraction, division, and limitation. Garbage in, garbage out. That's not just a computer term, that's a human truth. If you're constantly scrolling through negativity, comparing yourself on social media, soaking up toxic opinions, and listening to voices that don't believe in growth, guess what? Your mindset is going to reflect exactly that. Your thoughts become heavier, your decisions become clouded, your confidence shrinks. You want to master your mindset in a world of constant change. Then you've got to protect your mental environment like your life depends on it, because it does. You've got to be the guardian of your mind. Every day, ask yourself, is what I'm feeding my brain making me stronger or weaker? Clearer or more confused, empowered or exhausted? Champions are intentional about what they consume. They read content that stretches their thinking. They watch stories that inspire their action. They listen to people who have walked through fire and come out stronger. They don't just let any voice in, they curate what enters their mind, because they know whatever goes in comes back out in their focus, their language, their energy, and ultimately, their results. And this doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you filter it. You take in what you need to stay informed, but you don't drown in it. You absorb truth, but you reject the noise. And most importantly, you feed yourself daily with power. With books, with mentors, with movement, with gratitude, with stories that remind you who the hell you are and what you're here to do. Your mindset is a garden. If you don't plant powerful thoughts, weeds will grow by default. So don't leave it to chance. Feed it like your future depends on it, because in this world of constant change, the strongest minds are the ones that are deliberately nourished.